Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. This afternoon from East Brunswick High School's J. Doyle Field, it is East Brunswick meeting Sayreville in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. Hi, Jimmy Allinder being joined once again by Phil Hill. And Phil, East Brunswick coming in with a 1-5 record, very uncharacteristic, unexpected. Sayreville 5-1. Teams seemingly going in opposite directions.
I'll tell you, teams seemingly going in opposite directions, but I tell you, once again, the Bears could surprise Sayreville. A lot of elements at work here. Sayreville is looking to play Piscataway next week. They certainly could be looking ahead. The fact is that the Bears upset Sayreville last year when they were number 17th in the state of New Jersey, 28-7. There's a history in this rivalry here. You remember 1995 when David Kilkenny ran for 4 touchdowns and they upset the Bombers. 1992 when Jim Varick ran for 275 yards and 4 touchdowns and upset the Bombers. So the Bears aren't afraid of the Bombers, for one thing, Jim. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Bombers, and when Marcus Borden has 2 weeks to prepare for a team, he usually does pretty well. And on top of that, they got on the green pants.
Wow. Green pants, okay. And that'll blend well with the fall colors that we have here this afternoon. Beyond that, though, Phil, there's been a lot of injuries for East Brunswick this year, personnel changes. Are they settled down at this point, and how might that affect the outcome of the game?
I think they're better off than they have been for a while, Jim. You have Justin Horline, the starting quarterback, back at the helm. You have Tommy McCluskey back at his halfback spot and his free safety spot. The only one that isn't healthy at this time is captain and outside linebacker Andrew Batwash, who's still out. Marcus Borden has made some personnel changes. He's moved Justin Hill from fullback to guard, and James Gagnon will be at fullback. And I think it's going to have more balance for this team. They were thin on the line. I think Justin's going to give them a little juice on the line, if you will, and I think it's going to make for a better team overall.
Okay, well, we have a somewhat of a win this afternoon, although it's died down for the moment. Could affect the passing game, but anytime, as Phil mentioned, when East Brunswick and Sayreville get together in a football game, you have a great football game to watch. So we're going to take a break right now. We'll be back with the kickoff right after this. All right, we are back here at J. Doyle Field. You see the captains for East Brunswick and Sayreville getting ready for the coin toss. They're talking about it.
Well, you see the captains for Sayreville, Yazzie Jackson, number 2, Brandon Hoyt, number 20, Brian Tucker, number 30, and Chris Porte, number 61.
Looks like Sayreville is deferred to East Brunswick, and they will receive. East Brunswick, as Phil mentioned, in total green, perhaps to camouflage themselves in the grass.
Okay, and captains for the Bears, you have John Mullane, Justin Hill, Justin Horline, and the injured Andrew Batwash.
So it will be East Brunswick receiving to start this game. Sayreville kicking off. At the moment, we have a bright sunshine, somewhat of a brisk wind.
And Jim, it will be interesting to see if the Bears will hold true to what they've been talking about all year, but have failed to do, which is control the ball. Last year when they beat Sayreville, it was because they were able to control the ball and keep it away from Sayreville. This year they've been talking a lot about controlling the ball, but they haven't played that type of game. Let's see what happens.
Teams getting on the field. East Brunswick coming in with a 1-5 record. That lone victory coming against Edison in the second game of the year, a 10-7 victory. Sayreville, meanwhile, lost its last game to Colonia in somewhat of an upset. I'm not sure.
Actually, they lost that game to Colonia 26-11, but they come back since then to beat Bishop R 41-13, Jim.
Right.
And I'll tell you, this is a perfect football day.
Sure
a little crisp and bright sunshine and homecoming.
All right. Number 72, it appears to be kicking off for Sayreville, Ryan Charzewski.
And deep for the Bears is number 80, Rob King.
Right. Charzewski, 6'3", 250 junior. Phil, I noticed that Hoyt is a junior and a captain, which is somewhat unusual. All right, here we go. There's the Sayreville Cannon. Up. Looks like King dropped it. And East Brunswick's going to be caught deep in their own territory down on the 10-yard line.
And I'll tell you, when you have a mishandle like that, Jim, what you want to do is get it upfield, north and south there. That dancing there just gives them more time for the defense to come down, converge on you.
Trzaskowski taking advantage of the wind at his back. Loft one near the end zone. So East Brunswick will take over first down, and the ball resting on the 10-yard line. We're underway here at J. Doyle Field. Phil, you got a chance to see Sayreville play this year?
I saw them play against Colonia in their own lone loss, Jim.
Okay, and defensively, how do they look?
Defensively, tough. They like to hit, Jim.
Okay. Big line as usual.
Brandon Hoyt, number 20, really likes to hit.
He is the quarterback on offense. All right, Justin Hornline at quarterback. And the give is up the middle. Nothing going there. Can't see who has it.
That's Gagnon, the fullback, on the first carry.
Okay, James Gagnon. Phil mentioned that one of the personnel changes is moving Justin Hill to a guard to take advantage of his speed and size and blocking ability, giving Gagnon opportunity to touch the ball. He seems to have to become somewhat comfortable, although there has not been a gain on that play. 2nd and 10. Hornline, give up the middle. East Brunswick trying to exploit the middle of that line, Phil. All right, that was McCluskey, the ball carrier.
Tommy McCluskey finally back in at that halfback position there, Jim, and picked up a few yards. And the Bears trying to go up the middle of that line right now, Jim. We haven't seen them go to the outside yet. Of course, this is the 3rd down. Justin Hornline, the passing quarterback, is back in there. A little dangerous territory to pass, though.
It is 3rd and 6, we'll call it. Ball on the 14-yard line. Hornline in a passing situation, you would think. However, he keeps it himself.
And he's racked.
Racked hard. Sayreville, you mentioned they're not too adept at the option game, but they seem to be very
well.
They were on top of Hornline.
They haven't been adept in the past at the option game with handling the outside, but they handled it there. Number 68, Mike Gorski. He's only 6 feet, 265 pounds, Jim, who made the stop there for the Bombers.
Brings up 4th down, and punting the ball will be Chris Yanazzo, who's done the kicking on both ends for East Brunswick.
And he's got to keep it away, Jim, from Yazzie Jackson, number 2.
And there is a win, but he gets a nice kick off. That is Jackson, Phil. There's a block right there, and they're going to call a clip. Sayreville coaching staff arguing. So they're going to bring that back. You say keep it away from Jackson. Boy, it went right to him.
You got to keep it away from Jackson.
Drive.
Jackson's the game buster. He's the one that will hurt you, Jim. He does it. He had a game against Perth Amboy where he had 371 total yards, all-purpose yards. He scored on several kickoff returns. He scored on a touchdown reception, and he scored 2 touchdowns by rushing. So, got to keep it away from Jackson.
As a result of the clip, that'll bring the ball back to the Sayreville 40-yard line where the Bombers will take over. This will be our first look at their offense.
And our first look at Brandon Hoyt, 6 feet, 220 pounds, a junior at quarterback, and he's dangerous as well.
Feature back Jackson, number 2. This is Hoyt. Slip. Pass is caught. Fumble, however.
And the Bears recover.
And East Brunswick recovers. That pass was received by Steve Keller. And on top of it was Chris Yanazzo.
Johnny on the spot there, coming up with that fumble recovery there. And a big break for the Bears right off the top, Jim.
And they will take over on the 40-yard line.
And I tell you, the Bears fortunate. You see Hoyt rolling out there, Jim. John Mullane slipped, nearly had him, and he did complete that pass. Unfortunately, the receiver fumbled it. Number 84, Steve Keller.
I thought that Hoyt was going to run the ball. All right, East Brunswick up at the 40-yard line, 1st and 10, off that turnover. Hornline is going to throw it, and open, number 28.
I tell you, Teddy Nemec held on to that one.
That was a perfect throw.
A perfect throw and a super catch by Teddy Nemec to tie it in. We haven't called Teddy's name much this year. The young fellow has good hands, and that time pulled it in.
And a perfectly thrown pass by Hornline advances the ball down to the Sayreville 33-yard line. Gain of 27 on the play, making it 1st down for East Brunswick. This is the first time either team has been in the other's territory. Clock shows 9 minutes left to go in the first quarter. No score between East Brunswick and Sayreville. Justin Hornline calling signals at quarterback. Give is to number 34, that's Mullane, dragging people along with him.
And I'll tell you, one of the best plays that the Bears have had this year is that counter play with Mullane, John Mullane running it, and he picked up good yardage there, Jim.
Actually gets about 7 on the play, so that'll make it 2nd and 3. Ball resting on the 26-yard line.
Interesting, the Bears have not gone to the outside yet, Jim.
Hornline up to number 42.
Gagnon.
Who continues to move.
I'll tell you, and a first down, close.
He definitely has it.
I'll tell you, a super run by Gagnon. And Gagnon's the type of player that needs the touches, Jim. One of their problems early on, they haven't had enough touches offensively here. You give a player like Gagnon a few more touches there, and he gets better as the game goes on.
So another 1st down for East Brunswick. Ball marked on the 20-yard line. This is Hornline. He elects to keep it himself, tries to squeeze through. Maybe gets about a yard on the play. I didn't quite get the tackle. I think it was number 10. Was it Hoyt?
Hoyt, number 20.
All right, we're going to call his name often this afternoon. He plays middle linebacker, it appears. So gain of 1 on the play, making it 2nd and 9. Again, we are underway here with 7 minutes left in the first quarter between East Brunswick and Sayreville. This is a Red Division game. And Hornline keeps it himself. He's looking downfield. And pass.
I'll tell you, the sidearm pass.
Intended for number 42, Gagnon, but it was a little low. And James couldn't hold on to it. Couldn't get actually, he wasn't even close to it.
Actually had a defender that cut across there.
Yeah.
The Bears fortunate.
Phil, I thought that maybe Hornline might have just pulled up and started to run with the ball, but he was thinking pass all the way.
Well, Jim, you got to remember both the quarterbacks, Hornline and McCluskey, have been injured.
Right.
And a lot of that's due to their running on the outside. They're being a little more conservative thus far.
We have a 3rd and 9, we'll call it. Ball on the 18, 19-yard line. Hornline, pitch is to Mullane, and gets about 2 yards on the play. This is going to be an interesting call, Phil. We have a possible field goal attempt. However, the wind is blowing in the face of possible kicker Chris Yanazzo. Let's see what the call is.
Okay, Michael Worthington for the Bombers coming up to make that tackle, Jim.
And the field goal try is what's in order here. Yanazzo bringing the tee on to the field. It's going to be against the left hash mark, marked on the 26-yard line. So this would be a 36-yard attempt.
The wind appears to be blowing from west to east, Jim, right now.
Right, it does. A low snap. And
mercy.
Jackson, there's the ball picked up by Hoyt, and he could go all the way. Let's see what we got here. I'm looking behind, actually,
no flags,
to see if there's
Jim.
any flags.
No flags.
No flags, and in that sequence, Yazzie Jackson tackled number 24, Kenny Smith Alder. Fumble on the play, picked up by Hoyt, brings it all the way, and Sayreville, just like that, has a touchdown and a lead.
Well, Kenny Lance Smith is the holder on there. Not normally the holder there, Jim. And so they had a mix-up there, as you saw. not able to get the ball down, and then tackled.
That was a hard tackle by Jackson.
And just that quick, the Bombers are on the scoreboard.
And that fumble recovery and return to touchdown was about a 70-yard run. Score coming with 5:54 left to go in the first quarter. Sayreville will go for the extra point. And number 11, it looks like. Can't tell. Number 14. That's Jimmy Miller. Kick is good by Miller. And so now Sayreville out ahead. Geez, Phil, just when it seems like East Brunswick was knocking on the door to score.
A 10-point swing, if you will. I mean, they're looking to get 3 points there, Jim, and it turns around to be -7. So,
quite honestly, Phil, it started with a poor snap, a center snap. That's where it started.
Well, the snap actually wasn't that far off, to tell the truth, Jim. Actually, it did hit the holder's hands. He wasn't able to get it down, and that's where the problems began.
Nonetheless, it is a 7-0 lead for Sayreville. 5:54 left in the first quarter. So the Bombers will now have the opportunity to once again kick off with the wind behind their backs.
And I guess the point is, Jim, with a team like the Bombers, you want them to work for their scores. That's what you got to do, make them work for the scores. We talked about keeping the balls out of their hands, and here it's not even an offensive play, and they're able to pick up 7 points.
Right, in actuality, Sayreville's only touched the ball one time offensively. Chersneski, another nice kick.
King.
Picked up by Rob King. Tries to find a seam, but is brought down nicely by number 6. That's Mark Hughes. Bears in a somewhat better field position to start this drive. They were backed up on their 10 the last time. However, now they begin on their own 26-yard line.
And the Bears have to stay within their game plan, Jim. They can't panic, can't do anything fancy. They were moving the ball on the Bombers. They have to continue to do the same.
Well, one thing I've noticed is that Hornline seems to be comfortable throwing the ball. Let's see what happens. Pitch is to McCluskey. Gets some good yards out to the 32-yard line.
And number 75, Frank Terzino, coming up for the tackle there for the Bombers.
Phil, I notice a lot of young faces on this Sayreville team.
Well, George Najar has just done an excellent job with the Bombers there. And, you talk about young faces. Earlier we were talking about Pop Warner and the development of kids. And I think they do a good job in Sayreville overall.
Yes, they do. They have 2 programs feeding into that system. Let's call it 2nd and 5 for East Brunswick. Ball on the 31-yard line, and I believe they took a little bit too much time. That they did.
Mercy.
Yeah, and that's the type of flag that you can't have at this point. So the ball's backed up 5 yards, making it 2nd and 10, back to essentially the original line of scrimmage. .425 left to go in the first quarter. East Brunswick down by a 7-0 score. Up the middle, that is Mullane. Nice run by the fullback.
I'll tell you, nice run and nice hole on that side as well.
Exactly. Phil, you mentioned that the adjustments were made to provide some more blocking on the offensive line, and thus far we've seen that.
They've seen they've done the job thus far. They just have to maintain control.
That 9-yard run makes it 3rd and 1 for the Bears. Up the middle, Gagnon bounces off one tackler.
And he picks up that first down.
Again, the hole was there. So the Bears with I believe the third first down on the afternoon. We mentioned Sayreville has but one offensive touch this game. The ball is on the 39-yard line. Now you've got the receivers split wide to the left. Give is to Gagnon. Excellent yardage for the fullback.
I'll tell you one thing the Bears are doing that we haven't seen is that they're mixing it up, Jim, and giving a lot of touches to the various backs they have there in order to keep control of the ball.
Well, this is going to force Sayreville to make some adjustments on their line because right now East Brunswick is winning the war in the trenches, even though the score is 7-0 Sayreville. Second, and we will call it 4 to go. Ball's on the East Brunswick 46. Heinlein's going to throw it. Ball is caught and was caught on the knee, so the ball would be down right there.
Right, Rob King putting that knee down, but he put it down right past the first down, I believe.
Yes, another first down for the Bears. And they are over midfield into Sayreville territory. You got to wonder if George Najjar may call a timeout here to see what he can do.
Because the Bombers have not stopped the Bears. The Bears have stopped themselves, but the Bombers really haven't, Jim.
I think also East Brunswick's been getting good yards on first down. Hornline keeps it himself. He's looking downfield once more, fires it, and it is intercepted. Went through the hands of an East Brunswick receiver and intercepted by number 14, Brent Dunbar.
No, that's Jimmy Miller.
Jimmy Miller, the one who kicked the extra point on the touchdown. So once again, a turnover hurts the Bears as they appear to be driving comfortably.
You're exactly right, Jim. Another turnover, and as I said, the Bears seem to shoot themselves in the foot as soon as they get momentum.
All right, Sayreville with the ball. This is Brandon Hoyt at quarterback. Jackson, the lone setback. Give is up the middle and shut down. Number 40 that was on the carry. That was Abu Kamara.
And Tom Zold, I believe, in on the tackle, number 51 for the Bears.
And nothing on that. So it's 2nd and 10. Hoyt with it. He's looking to run the ball, but I think they're going to get him. Phil, is it my imagination, but East Brunswick really seems to be firing off the ball.
Well, they're firing off the ball. They're swarming to there. As I said, Jim, they've had 2 weeks to prepare. They're healthy. They have no place to go but up, Jim. And they have no fear against the Bombers. They never have.
That loss will bring it back to the 39-yard line, making it 3rd and about 17 for the Bombers. We're under a minute, 38 seconds left to go, as a matter of fact. Hoyt gives it up the middle, fumble on the play, Jackson, and he's going to fall on it. And Phil, I'm wondering, with this win right now, whether East Brunswick ought to use a timeout to stop the clock.
You got a point there, Jim.
Because they're going to let the clock run out if otherwise.
The clock certainly is ticking.
Under 10 seconds, and I believe that Sayreville's going to just let it go out, unless East Brunswick does call a timeout. No, they don't.
Sayreville calls a timeout. No, they don't, Jim.
Let's see what we got.
Well, the official pointed to Sayreville for a timeout, and there's
that is amazing. Unless, of course,
they want to kick with the win.
unless they called the timeout after the quarter was over. Let's see what we have.
Now, Jim, if the quarter's over, they got to switch.
You're right. You're right. What in the world is that all about? With this wind swirling in that direction?
Well, we're sitting right next to the timer here, and he looks official, but apparently the time is kept on the field. No, it's not. We have the official timer right here, so I don't know what it is, Jim.
All right, we get the notification that there is a second left to go.
Okay.
And
wow.
And that ball is down on the 33-yard line. So Sayreville just able to get that timeout
Well,
in.
apparently Sayreville able to call the timeout with 1 second supposedly left to punt that ball with the win, and they got it.
So the Bears will, well, now they're going to reverse the field, of course. And East Brunswick now will have this win at its back to begin the second quarter. The score is 7-0 in favor of Sayreville. The offensive production coming when East Brunswick lined up for a 36-yard field goal by Cristianazzo. The center snap bounced on the ground, and the kicker for the Bears, Smith, tried to run with it. Kenny Smith was hit by Yazzie Jackson, fumbled the ball, and it was picked up by Brandon Hoyt, and he rambled 70 yards for the touchdown. That makes the score 7-0 Sayreville. Their touchdown coming with 5:54 left to go in the first quarter.
And Jim, I'll say it again, the Bears, they're only down 7. They have to be patient. They have shown the ability to move the ball against the Bombers. Just a few mistakes, they've hurt themselves, but they got to stick with the game plan.
And Phil, another observation, the one opportunity that the Bombers had to go on offense, East Brunswick shut them down pretty good.
Right.
So this game certainly appears to be even, at least on the field. Okay, Bears will begin on their own 32-yard line. First down, we're underway here in the second quarter. Justin Ornline has been at quarterback for the Bears. Give is up the middle. Nice blocking. And Mullane is going to get some good yards on that play once again. Phil, I can't tell you how impressed I am with that offensive thrust by the line.
Offensive line, that initial thrust, they're doing a good job, Jim. That's for sure, against a bigger Bomber defense.
Gain of 5 on the play, and there once again, good yards on first down. 2nd and 5 to go. The ball is on the East Brunswick 37. Horn line.
Ooh.
And give to the second back through. I believe that was Mullane. It was. So he gets a couple more. Just about at the 39-yard line, gain of 2.
And the Bears seem to content to run that left side, Jim, behind Corsall and Hill.
So we have about a third and, let's call it 3 yards to go. Cristianazzo split to the near side here. East Brunswick in its wishbone, or E-bone as we call it. Horn line gives to McCluskey. He finds some room and then is brought down by Hoyt, the linebacker.
Brandon Hoyt, who else?
So that really is the first time that Sayreville has stopped East Brunswick, and it's going to bring up a 4th and 1, maybe 2. And the Bears appear to be in a kicking situation. Now they have the wind at their back, so this is going to be somewhat more of an advantage for them. Lone deep back for Sayreville is Yazzie Jackson. As Phil mentioned, he is a very dangerous punt returner.
Very dangerous, and when I say keep it away from him, he has history on his side, Jim. He can do some damage.
There's the snap. It's a good one. Inazo. Line drive.
Mercy.
Picked up by Jackson. Let's see. And bounces off one tackle. Eludes another one, and finally they bring him down.
I'll tell you, give the Bears special teams some credit there. They contain him, Jim.
Phil, I have to tell you, I saw Yazzie Jackson many, many years ago when he was about 100-pounder. Less than that, actually, playing for the Monroe Wolverines junior Pee Wee team, and he single-handedly led that team to the Central Jersey Championship. He was, back then, even an explosive runner.
Well, the 371 all-purpose yards he had against Perth Amboy, he single-handedly handled himself as well.
Bombers have it first down on the 37. Hoyt gives it to Jackson, cuts inside, gets a couple of yards before he's gang tackled.
And I'll tell you, that's Corsal.
Right.
And McCluskey coming up, I believe.
Gain of 3, making it 2nd and 7. 9:20 left to go in the second quarter. Sayreville out in front, 7-0. Their touchdown coming midway through the first quarter of play. Off a fumble recovery and 70-yard run by the quarterback who we see right now, Brandon Hoyt. Hoyt gives to Jackson once more, doesn't
and
find any room.
Great defense. Again, Corsal coming in there.
No gain on the play. So it'll be 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, perhaps 8.
And I tell you, Jim, when they pass, they also pass to Jackson. You can look for Jackson or number 88. Liam Jones. Jones not in the game, so look for Jackson coming out of the backfield.
Well, Sayreville was successful on that passing play to begin the game. Let's see if they throw here. Gives
Draw.
to Jackson. They're ready for him.
Did they smother him under? I tell you, led by Justin Hill there, number 56.
56? I thought he was 44.
He's 56 today and
Okay.
the rest of the year.
All right. We had a conversation before the game, and Pop was telling me how the captain for East Brunswick gave up that 44 number, which he had worn his entire career, because he had to wear 56 as an interior lineman because of Greater Middlesex Conference rules. We have a timeout on the field by Sayreville. Phil, I'll tell you what, I got to give you credit. I got to give your son credit, because I know fullback is a more visible position. However, it was recognizable that East Brunswick needed to shore up its offensive line. I have to believe that number 56 out there is one of the reasons why the East Brunswick Bears are moving the ball a little bit more fluidly.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jim. I don't agree that fullback is a more physical position than the guard, but you're right. All the credit goes to him attitude-wise. He simply said, listen, I'm a captain here. We want to win some games, and if the coach feels I'll do better in this position, I'm ready to do it. He has his mother's class, so you got to like it.
Mr. Hill making all kinds of accolades this afternoon.
Oh, mercy. Okay, the Bombers call timeout there, Jim.
Boy, I'll tell you what, your family's going to love you tonight. Anyway, kicking for Sayreville is Hoyt, it looks like. And deep for East Brunswick, McCluskey and King. Hoyt takes his time, gets off a high kick. Wind sort of holds it up, and it sort of bounces, takes a little bit of a bounce.
I tell you, get away from it, Bears.
So they will set up on their own 32-yard line after once more shutting down Sayreville.
Shutting down. The Bombers haven't done anything offensively, Jim. They come in here as one of the high-powered teams in Middlesex County, and quite frankly, the Bears have shut them down defensively.
7:33 left to go in the second quarter. Sayreville out in front, 7-0. East Brunswick, I say probably their 4th or 5th offensive possession. They were moving the ball on one drive, and then there was a fumble. Let's see what they do here. Justin Hornline at quarterback. He keeps it. He's got some room. Jackson closes in on him, but a nice block.
I tell you, Christian Osel throwing a nice block on the outside there. That's the first time we've seen Hornline run to the outside, Jim.
Right. Phil, you had mentioned that he is coming back from a number of injuries.
He's coming back from a very tender ankle injury. Matter of fact, this is his 3rd time coming back in, Jim. So they're using him judiciously so he doesn't get banged up because they can't afford to lose his leadership.
Gain of 7 on the play, making it 2nd and 3. Ball is resting just short of the 40-yard line. Horn line, give is up the middle. Nice move by McCluskey, avoids one tackle, and advances the ball up to the 45-yard line. That is a first down for East Brunswick.
And Tommy McCluskey has to be one of the hungry players. Hasn't played much this year, Jim, due to injuries. Came into this season as one of the big hitters, and he is when healthy.
He is a premier hitter from his defensive position. I've seen him laid out a couple of players. What a first down for East Brunswick. Pitch is to Mullane. He has some blockers in front of him. And just caught by Jackson, or Mullane would have gone possibly all the way.
He would have gone all the way there.
Nice run by the fullback.
Nice run, and I'll tell you, some good blocking on that side. Dan Sauvigny, number 78 over there, doing a fine job himself for the Bears.
Advances the ball down to the Sayreville 36-yard line. And once again, an East Brunswick first down.
Sauvigny, a 206-pound junior in there on that left-hand side, who's doing a good job over there.
Horn line with the ball. Pitch, nice pitch. Great block. That is McCluskey. Terrific block here.
I'll tell you, a super block here, Jim, but count that. We've seen the option all year. That is the first time that we've seen the pitch on the option this year, Jim.
That block was by number 80, King, who just laid out the Sayreville player. And East Brunswick has another first down. This time it's on the 13-yard line.
First time they pitched this year, Jim, on the option.
And it was done right. Hornline made that adjustment just at the right moment. Two receivers split wide to the left for East Brunswick. Hornline up the middle, but they got him this time. That's Gagnon.
Okay, big number 72 for the Bears, for the Bombers, Ryan Charzewski,
who is the kicker. Phil, you know, I mentioned that they got him, but the surge of that East Brunswick line, even though it appeared that Gagnon was stopped, he actually made 3 yards on that play.
He picked up good yardage.
So a 2nd and 7, let's call it. East Brunswick can get a first down without scoring. We're down to 4:50 left to go in the second quarter. Again, Sayreville holding on to that 7-0 lead. Hornline. There might be a fumble.
Oh, mercy.
And yes, indeed.
And the Bombers recover.
And there was confusion on that play, Phil. I think Hornline thought he was going to give it to McCluskey.
Well,
McCluskey thought that Hornline was going to keep
Jim,
it,
and I'll just
he
tell
got
you,
the fumble.
It's the nature of the wishbone. Everything is done by feel. The quarterback sticks it in there. He either decides to pull it out and keep it himself, or give it to the running back going through. And a lot of times you're going to have mix-ups. It's a high-risk offense.
That is the 3rd turnover for the Bears. And this one comes at a real inopportune time, fumbling inside the 10-yard line. Bombers have a first down now. Boy, that took the air out of this stadium.
I'll tell you, once again on a drive here, apparently going in for a touchdown and the turnover.
Hoyt gives to, not sure who that is. Number 30 was the ball carrier. That's Brian Tucker, another captain for them.
And I'll tell you, the Bears defense once again being very tough. Holding on the Bombers' decline.
So there was no gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down.
And once again, that middle of the line there, you had Hill, you had number 46. Of course, Jason Carbone.
Hoyt has it himself. Gets through one blocker, another one, keeps on moving.
Mercy.
Wow, they finally bring him down.
Brandon Hoyt, man. picking up good yardage there, Jim. That's all Brandon Hoyt there, and he doesn't look too swift out there, Jim, to tell the truth, but just plowing along and picked up that first down there. Some poor tackling by the Bears on there, though, Jim.
Exactly. And, Phil, you know what I was thinking? As there is an official timeout on the field, if East Brunswick could have stopped Sayreville, I was thinking that they might want to consider taking a couple timeouts just to keep them down in this end and preserve the clock. But as it is, Sayreville's now out of trouble. Hoyt gives to Jackson, tries to find some room, doesn't have too much. Well, he gets about 4 yards on that play before he's brought down. Phil, I don't think of Yazzie Jackson as a workhorse type of back, but more so of the slashing, cutting, utilizing the outside.
Well, he's only 170 pounds, Jim, and you're right. But they've used him as a workhorse in the past. Number 5, Michael Marrero, in on the tackle there for the Bears.
Gain of actually 6 on the play, making it 2nd and 4. We're down to 2:40 left. Here's Jackson. Now he finds some room. Hit. Won't go down. And that lunge right there was good enough to get first down for the Bombers.
I'll tell you, they look awful patient running, don't they, Jim? They look like they got all day. They take their time and still pick up yardage.
Well, Phil, you noted that the offensive line for Sayreville wasn't doing the job, yet they are bigger. And I think they're just getting out. The guards are pulling out. And they're just sort of setting up shop and moving ahead. And that's what you're finding. Sayreville with the first down. Give is up the middle and had me faked out.
That's Tucker. That's Brian Tucker, 5'11", 200-pound fullback. And he can create some damage as well, Jim.
And he just got himself another first down for the Bombers. That's 3 in a row. And this drive started after an East Brunswick turnover on the 8-yard line. And all of a sudden, the Bombers are in East Brunswick territory. We are under 2 minutes to play. And that intrusion.
It's going to cost them 5.
Yep.
A little over anxiousness there. Number 56.
Go ahead, you can mention his name.
The juice.
Juice had a little bit too much juice that time. So it's 1st and 5 for the Bombers. The ball on the 42-yard line. And the clock starts once again. Sayreville, I believe, has 2 timeouts left. Ball stops after a first down. Hoyt rolls out. He's looking downfield. There's Jackson. They got him.
Hoyt with just a flick of the wrist there, Jim.
And Jackson is wrestled down by Yanazo at the 21-yard line.
And as I mentioned before, Yazzie Jackson is Hoyt's primary receiver. Even though he has split in, spread out, somehow end up getting that ball in Jackson's hands.
First down is on the 22-yard line. Hoyt gives up the middle to Tucker, but he's brought down behind the line of scrimmage. And you got to wonder if Sayreville may use one of its timeouts here.
I'll tell you, Frank Panulo coming up with a big tackle right there. Number 70 for the Bears.
.45 seconds. Hoyt carrying it. Bounces off somebody, and now you got to figure they're going to use a timeout. And the Bombers do call timeout.
I'll tell you, Hoyt, once again, the big body there.
He was going to take it himself. I'm not sure whether maybe he just forgot what the play was and started running with the ball. Nonetheless, it is the 3rd down, 3rd and 7, ball on the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you, see George Najar out on the field there, Jim. This guy comes from Lincoln High School in Brooklyn. His overall record is 129 wins, 45 losses, and 1 tie. Since his 5th year at Sayreville, and his record is 35-13, has taken him to the state finals where they won the championship, I believe, in 1997.
That was against Middletown South.
Okay.
That was a thrilling overtime game.
And has had them in the playoffs five years, Jim, 5 different times.
Well, that record in itself speaks so highly of what this gentleman has accomplished. He is a resident of the Middletown area and has taken a program that was doing well as it was. If you remember, Sal Mastretta, who is now at North Brunswick, was the coach.
Right.
Really started to turn that program around, and then feeling was that when Mastretta left that Najjar would not do as well. Well, he has just continued it, and he's actually brought it to another level.
He's taken it to another level. That's correct. He's well respected over Sayreville, a hard worker. Kids have his respect. His co-workers has his respect.
It is a third down with 36 seconds left in the half. Hoyt looks to be thrown. He's pressured.
Ooh.
And it's caught by number 37, who has the sideline. And
Mercy.
He is in for the touchdown. 37.
I'll tell you, Hoyt is hurt.
Isabella is the one that scored on that, Phil.
I'll tell you, Hoyt is hurt. Again, Justin Hill coming in to make the tackle on Hoyt just a second too late before Hoyt got it off. And nevertheless, he's down, though, Jim.
Well, we'll take a look at that. That touchdown, beautifully executed. Touchdown coming with just 24 seconds left to go in the half. And remember, Phil, this was a drive that began on the 8-yard line when East Brunswick fumbled the ball. Real tough. We will wait a second to see what happened.
I'll tell you, Hoyt's still down as you look out there, Jim. You have the trainers out there. You have the Sayreville trainers. And Phil Hostler out there as well. But again, Jim, Hoyt was able to get that ball off at the last second right into the flat there. And number Ben Isabella, the tight end, took it in. All the way in for a touchdown.
Well, they are taking their time. Well, Hoyt's up.
Okay, good sign, Jim.
That is a good sign.
Okay, and he walks off. He runs off, as a matter of fact.
And you definitely get the feeling that he will be back. He certainly will have the halftime to rest.
I talked earlier about Hoyt with that flick of the wrist, and that's what he did there, Jim, able to get that pass off.
Well, I also give credit to number 34, Ben Isabella, who really gathered up a pass that was near the ground and not only caught the ball, he didn't touch the ground with his knees and was able to take off. Okay, the kick is through by Miller, and that extends the lead to 14-0. And with 24 seconds left, Phil, I have to make this statement.
Go ahead.
East Brunswick, I would think, was playing better offensively, yet they have no points to show for it, and they're down 14-0.
Well, again, Jim, it comes back to the point of turnovers. You mentioned they had 3 turnovers each time they were driving and sort of hurt themselves, and you can't do that in a game like this here. And yet it's a game of inches. Again, you go back to this play here where Hoyt looked to be sacked and somehow flicked the wrist and got it off. And as you mentioned, Bella made a super catch and took it in all the way.
All right, I'm looking across the field. I don't know if our cameraman can pan out, but if you look at the trees, that wind is really picked up now. It's swirling. And Sayreville would probably do well to just ground this ball rather than kicking it high in the air. That is Trzowski kicking off. And he does ground it. Picked up by number 22. Slips. There has been a few people slipping on that. That's Greg Balilis. I haven't mentioned him this year. He's a sophomore. Getting some playing time in on the kickoff return team. So the Bears have 18 seconds left to go in the second quarter. They are down 14-0. Ball is on the 32-yard line.
And, Jim, if you're wondering if the Bears are going to come out and put the ball up in the air.
I was wondering.
I think they got to try something.
And actually the pitch is to Mullane. And there's a flag on the play.
That's why we're not coaches, Jim. That's why we're not coaches, because we do something silly like put it up with a few seconds left and possibly get it intercepted.
Why do you say it's so silly?
Well, no, I'm just saying
you got a play here that went for no yards, and there's a penalty on the play.
No, I'm saying the coach on the field is thinking like a coach. He's playing safe, wants to get in at the half, certainly down 14 and not down 21.
That penalty is going to mark the ball back, and I think now East Brunswick will, in fact, probably either take a knee, although every time we venture something, it's always the opposite. Clock begins to run. You wonder if the Bears even want to get a playoff here. I think not. And that is going to do it for the first half of play. The score, Sayreville 14, East Brunswick nothing. Phil?
Well,
what's your thoughts?
The Bears obviously have played well enough to be winning this game, Jim, certainly to be in the game, which they are. They're only down 14 points there. On the other hand, the Bombers have been very fortunate, Jim, picking up that fumble on the field goal attempt, able to turn that into a touchdown. And Brandon Hoyt coming up with the flick of the wrist, able to get that pass off when he was about to be sacked, which ended up in a touchdown. So fate has been on the Bomber side thus far, Jim, but the Bears have played very well.
All right, so we are at halftime. It is homecoming at East Brunswick, so we will take an extended break and be back with the second half kickoff after this.
New Jersey, and tomorrow they will be performing at Hillsborough. Please support our own competition, which will be held on Saturday, October 30th, here at J. Doyle Field. Our competition season concludes at Giant Stadium on Friday, November 5th. Please welcome your 1999 East Brunswick High School Bear Marching Band, 1998 USSBA Group 3A Silver Champions, under the direction of Mr. John Kish.
Okay, you see the king and queen in their court coming this way here. It is homecoming here at East Brunswick High School, and I might say a nice crowd out here. But here comes the people that make the day today, the king and queen in their court. And always a nice happening. Well, I'll tell you, as we look at the king and queen in their court, and we have announcements going on there, we might as well let you know who they are. Certainly for the sophomore class, you have Chantel Hagan and Eddie Ramos. For the junior class, Allison Perlstein and Frank Loya. And for the senior class, you have Terry Nelson as the queen and Chris Yanazzo as the king. And you're taking a good look at them as they're introduced. Okay, Paula and Jeff Yanazzo accepting for homecoming king, Chris Yanazzo. A nice couple themselves. And there she is, Terry Nelson, the homecoming queen. Okay, so there you have it, halftime and homecoming celebrations, and we'll be back in just a moment.
All right, we are back at East Brunswick's J. Doyle Field. We're at halftime. It is Sayreville 14, East Brunswick nothing. Homecoming festivities just completed. And the Bears, Sayreville, having deferred to the second half, I believe, will receive. East Brunswick will kick off, probably defending our left side. Phil, I didn't quite catch that. I don't know if you did. As far as who's defending what goal, I imagine East Brunswick's going to elect to defend the goal to our left.
The north goal, and the Bombers will receive. Jim.
Right, okay. Sayreville's touchdowns coming in the first quarter. A Brandon Hoyt pickup of a fumble off of a failed field goal attempt by East Brunswick. It's running 70 yards at 5:54, making it 7-0. And then Isabella gathering in a 20-yard pass from Hoyt with just 24 seconds left to go in the first half, making the score 14-0. That's where we stand. So East Brunswick, again, will kick off as they did to begin this game. Excuse me, no, Sayreville did.
Exactly.
Right.
Christian Osler, the homecoming king, will kick it off for the Bears, Jim.
And Phil, you had mentioned that it would be a good idea not to kick to Yazzie Jackson. That hasn't been the strategy of East Brunswick, however.
Well, it hasn't been a strategy, but you give the Bears special team some credit. They've been able to contain them, but a kid like Yazzie Jackson, sooner or later, Jim, will break one. The more touches he has, the more chances he has of doing it.
Yanazzo drills it down the middle of the field on a grounder, picked up by number 14. That's Miller, who is lassoed by McCluskey.
McCluskey bouncing off him, but nevertheless made the tackle.
And Sayreville will begin 1st and 10 on its own 25-yard line. We are underway in the second half, third quarter play.
And I think he's going to see the Bombers go back to basics. I think you're going to see Yazzie Jackson running that ball from out of the backfield, Jim. He hasn't had too many touches to tell the truth, but I think you're going to see him go to that.
Brandon Hoyt at quarterback. He injured himself toward the end of the quarter, or half. Gives to Jackson. There's a flag on the play, however. And from where it appears that flag was thrown, it's probably going to be an illegal motion. And that is the call, so it'll be a 5-yard penalty if East Brunswick chooses to take it. There's a discussion going on with East Brunswick's Hill. And they will take the 5-yard penalty, so that'll bring it back to the 20-yard line, making it 1st and 15.
Okay, they did start out with Jackson, Jim, and I still realize he's their money player there.
Phil, what bothers me, doesn't bother me, but from Sayreville's perspective, they're really still trying to move through the middle of that line. And Jackson is really, somebody who gets his yards to the outside.
Well, he also, if he can get a step through the middle, Jim, he can go as well.
Right, but that hasn't been successful for Sayreville thus far today. And this time it's to number 6. We haven't called his number yet. Mark Hughes, who gets nothing, really. Again, it's puzzling that Sayreville continues to run up the middle. We have a player down for the Bears. Don't know who that is. Is that Cursal?
Can't see. It appears
all right, what do we got here?
6 on there, Jim.
Yeah. Well, I don't see Chris Cursal, so I'm going to assume it's him,
It's
Phil.
Chris Cursal, and let's
Yeah.
hope that he's all right. Of course, he is the mainstay of both the offense and defensive line. Chris Cursal fastly approaching assistant coach Jay Odoshio's record for most tackles for loss in a career. That's the type of player Chris Cursal has been. He's been it doesn't say too much, but he's been a leader both offensively and defensively, and without a doubt, the Bears' best offensive and defensive lineman.
Thought for a moment there was another flag on the play, but that yellow piece of paper is not a flag. They are taking their time looking at Chris Cursal.
And Cursal, of course, a 5'11", 225-pound senior who's been a good one for the Bears for the last 3 years, Jim. And he's up.
And walking off.
Running off. I love it. Okay, hopefully he'll be back in there soon if able.
All right, a 2nd and 15, maybe 16 actually. Hoyt drops back to pass, fires to the right. He's got his man. That is, I believe it's Isabella. No, I'm sorry, it's not.
Number 7, Jim.
That is correct. Number 7 is Derek Pugh, who advances the ball up to the 27-yard line. It'll be a 3rd and 7 for Sayreville. 10:20 left to go in the third quarter of play. Sayreville holding on to a 14-0 lead. Obvious passing situation. Well, not so obvious passing situation. But Sayreville has had a penchant for throwing the ball on 3rd down. And Hoyt will drop back. He looks downfield, avoids a tackle, goes through the middle, and he has a little bit of room. Fights his way close to a 1st down. I think he got it, Phil.
He's a load, Jim.
I think that last effort was enough to get past that first yard marker.
And I talked earlier about
yes, indeed.
When he rolls out, Jim, he doesn't seem to be too swift of a foot, but right there, he was rather shifty.
That was a superb effort by a quarterback who really more resembles a fullback. And with that first down, Sayreville advances the ball out to the 37-yard line with more room now to run. Jackson not in the ball game, Phil. There he is, I'm sorry. Give is to number 14.
Miller.
There's a flag on the play. And from where that's thrown, it's probably a hold. Nonetheless, nice run there by Miller. And that is the call, holding on Sayreville. Ball will be marked back from that point. So it actually is going to turn into some plus yards for Sayreville, but it's going to be more like, first and 8.
Okay, you're right.
Phil, Sayreville seems to have found some seams now.
They went in halftime and said, we haven't gotten to our game. We're going to come out and we're going to run this ball like we know how. That's what they're trying to establish right now.
Brandon Hoyt, who injured his ankle at the end of the first half. Then again, well, I have to tell you, Phil, Mr. Hill
once again, 2 inches. It's nice to be ready to go, but you can't keep costing your team 5 yards.
So it's going to be 1st and 4. Ball up at the 43-yard line.
And it's still basic. You got to look at the ball. When the ball moves, that's when you move.
Give us to Jackson on the slant.
Ooh.
He's nailed.
I'll tell you.
I believe that was Gagnon who made the initial hit and stood up the ball carrier so that it is a gain of 1.
I'll tell you, he laid one on him.
Yeah. 2nd and 2, we'll call it.
James Gagnon.
Jackson tries to follow his blockers, and I don't think he got the first down, Phil.
I'll tell you,
it's going to be about a yard shy.
Good defense by the Bears.
Right. Tell you what, Mr. Jackson's yards have been coming very stingy today.
They've been on him. Yazzie Jackson is used to busting about a 60 or 70 yarder by down, Jim, and the Bears have contained him. Of course, he hasn't had that many touches, though, not from the backfield.
3rd and 1.
You can look for Mr. Tucker here, I believe, the fullback.
I think maybe Hoyt himself may take this. Nope. Very good, Phil. That yard is good enough for a first down.
Okay.
And this is starting to turn out to be a time-consuming drive for Sayreville. They took the second half kickoff.
Well, they come out, they say we have a 14-point lead. The only way the Bears can beat us if by allowing the ball in their hands, let's control the ball ourselves. They haven't tried anything fancy. It's just hard work on the ground.
So the first down makes it on the 48-yard line. Hoyt tosses it to Jackson. He's got some room to run. And a nice tackle there by Ryan Schmidt, number 52. Or was that Yanazzo?
That's number 82, Christian
Yeah, I'm
Yanazzo.
sorry, Yanazzo. Far side of the field. Gain of about 7 on the play.
Yeah, but it's amazing with all the receivers they have, Yazzie Jackson still ends up being Hoyt's primary receiver, Jim.
2nd and 3. A long 3, perhaps. Bombers methodically moving the ball down the field.
He's calling an audible.
Pitch is to the left. Miller, and he is stopped. Really nice open field tackle.
I'll tell you, very good
by
one.
King.
Rob King coming up with a very strong tackle.
We have a player down for East Brunswick. Might be Gagnon, Phil. He gets up slowly, number 46.
Jason Carbone.
Carbone.
He's up, and he's coming out of the game for a play, Jim. Jason, a good hard-nosed junior. He's going to be a good one next year.
Gain of 2 on the play. 3rd and 2. Ball in East Brunswick territory on the 43-yard line. And we are under 5 minutes left in this third quarter, and Sayreville took the opening kickoff. So it's been pretty much on the ground with a couple of passes in between. Hoyt gives to Tucker, who is stopped. Phil, this is a rather important defensive sequence now for the Bears.
No
they
doubt.
really can't allow any more points. We got a timeout now. Official.
For measurement, I believe, Jim.
Wow, I didn't think he made that much on the play, but apparently they're going to take a look at it. I think, based on where the ball is, might be a little bit short, but we'll wait.
Okay.
They're going to say about a couple feet. They just should have asked me, but nonetheless. So it's going to be 4th down. What does Sayreville elect to do here?
Okay, you got Hoyt coming back in the game here. I think they're going for it, Jim.
I think you're right. Ball is at the 42-yard line of East Brunswick, so, well,
Hoyt's the
now
punter.
you have Hoyt punting.
He's the punt. Well, he's the punter as well. Oh, mercy, mercy. I'll tell you.
Oh, it all depends on where they
stopped
mark
it.
it.
Just an ugly
It
play.
all depends on where they mark it, Phil, because it is, I'm looking at the official, and I think based on where he's at, it's going to be short. I think East Brunswick did the job.
I'll tell you, had a lot of players in there. Mullane, Elgin Taylor, the freshman in there as well, and Corsal, of course.
Right, that defensive line from East Brunswick really made a nice surge, and they're going to come up short here.
Just an ugly-looking play by the Bombers.
Phil, for all of Brandon Hoyt's strength and maneuverability, it's just something that I don't like about him being a quarterback. And stop them they did, East Brunswick, so they will take over, and let's see if that emotional surge gives something for East Brunswick. Yeah,
Well,
Phil.
the thing about it is, if you're the Bombers there's nothing wrong with going for it, Jim, but what with all the trickery, not necessary. You got the backs and the power to go for it if that's what you want to do. But they threw themselves out of sync by going with the fake kick and then running up to the line and trying to pull it off. They threw themselves out of sync.
We have exactly 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. East Brunswick needing a touchdown here. They're down 14-0. Horn line. This is the first time the Bears have had ball this quarter, this half actually. And Gagnon getting some good yards there. Gain of 3 on the play. 2nd and 7. Horn line looking across the middle.
Man.
King.
I'll tell you, King was racked but held on to the ball. Didn't pick up very much, Jim.
Well, he picked up enough, Phil.
Not enough for a first down, Jim.
I think they might take a look at this. Credit Rob King for holding on to that ball. He was laced
racked.
by
He
Mark
was racked
Hughes.
but held on to it. You're right. And I think he comes up just short.
East Brunswick in Sayreville territory now. Just a little bit short, says Yazid Jackson. Phil, we didn't mention too much about Yazzie Jackson as a defensive player, but I tell you what, he's a hitter.
Oh, he's a player.
Yeah.
He's a player. He's an all-around player. Every part of his game is solid, Jim.
So East Brunswick with a third down situation.
And you got to look for Gagnon here. That's what he's in there for these tough situations, to pick up those tough yards, Jim.
Give is up the middle to Gagnon, and there is a fumble on the play, and I believe Sayreville has it. They do indeed.
Mercy.
Phil, when did it happen? On the exchange, or was it just a good hit?
It happened on the. There shouldn't have been any problem, Jim. It's very clearly this is just a simple dive here that's got to go to the fullback. There shouldn't be any playing around with it, with dipping it in there and trying to pull it out, because all you're trying to do is pick up 1 yard. It shouldn't have happened.
And that is the fourth turnover for East Brunswick this afternoon. Each one of those turnovers hurting and leading directly to a touchdown. Points in some way, shape, or fashion. So Sayreville dodges yet another bullet and has a first down on their own 46-yard line. Somebody's jumping on this play. And you know what, Phil? Well, yeah,
it may be the call. They may be saying they're pulled off.
We'll have to see.
About 3 defenders for the Bears jumped off sides there.
And they do call East Brunswick offside. Phil, I have to agree with that call. Really, it was the East Brunswick players that jumped first.
3 of them jumped off, no doubt about it.
Right.
When one jumps off, Jim, you tend to think it's one. When 3 jumps off, then you think perhaps maybe they were pulled off.
And you know what? That is really the right time to change the cadence, because East Brunswick's emotional. They just lost the ball. They may not be as focused. And you see what happened. 3 of them were offside. 1st and 5. Hoyt with the ball. Tries to move ahead. And is stopped by a host of East Brunswick tacklers.
Gaining a yard, if that, Jim.
So it will be 2nd and 4. Too many times this afternoon, Sayreville has been given excellent opportunities on penalties, turnovers, and quite honestly, these teams have played on equal terms.
That's for sure, except for turnovers, Jim.
Ball on the East Brunswick 47-yard line. Hoyt gives to Jackson, cuts inside, but brought down by number 17.
That's
Elgin Taylor.
Elgin Taylor, the freshman, making the tackle for the Bears.
Gain of 1 on the play, so it'll be 3rd down. You see in this sequence, Phil, that in 2 plays, East Brunswick has done a really good job of shutting Sayreville down. However, it's only 3rd and 2.
That's right.
And it's a direct result of that penalty. We are down to 1 minute to play in the 3rd quarter, just like that. Hoyt with it, breaks a tackle, and he's going to have enough for the first down.
I'll tell you, and that's all Brandon Hoyt again, Jim. You were saying there's some things you don't like about quarterback. He uses what he has, Jim. He has that bulk there. There he pulled out, hit a couple times behind the line of scrimmage, nevertheless able to pick up the first down.
Right. The one thing that I see that is lacking at this point, and he is, after all, just a junior, is it seems like things are slow developing.
Oh, it's fair to say I don't think he's a quarterback.
Right.
I think he's a big kid with some talent that's back there. I don't think he's a quarterback. I think he's a linebacker.
Now he is calling an audible at this point.
Delay of game? Let's see.
That is the call. Glanced at the clock, it shows 16 seconds. You wonder if Sayreville is just going to let the clock run out, seeing as though they're going against the wind.
I don't think.
Okay. Clock doesn't start after a delay of game.
I don't think they're concerning themselves with it, Jim.
So it'll be 1st and 15 for Sayreville. Ball on the East Brunswick 49-yard line. 16 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. They are ahead, Sayreville, 14-0. Hoyt keeps it, looks downfield. Whoops.
Marrero.
We have a face mask on this one.
Probably so. Morrell was right there to make the tackle, Jim, but apparently got a hand in on the face mask.
That is the call. And that's going to be a 15-yarder, and it's going to be a first down for the Bombers. One more time, East Brunswick with the penalty. Ball is going to be marked on the 33-yard line. And the clock will resume, and that is going to be the quarter. So, at the end of 3 quarters of play, it is Sayreville 14, East Brunswick nothing. No scoring coming in that quarter, but Sayreville did a good job of using the clock.
Sayreville came out from the half there, said we're going to go back to basics, and we're going to control the ball and not do anything silly. They haven't come up with any silly passes or anything, and basically that's what they've done.
All right, I'm looking at the field. Since the clock is not official, they are saying that there is some time left in this third quarter.
Well, I don't know why it's not official. They have an official here in the box, Jim. So that does make it official. I just don't think they've been in sync.
We have no idea how much time is left in this quarter. But Sayreville does have the ball. That is given to number 4, yet another new name, Mike Phelan. Good gain of about 7 on that play, and now
it's
quarter is
Jim.
over.
Yep.
Wow. So, as we said before, after 3 quarters, it is Sayreville 14, East Brunswick nothing. And Phil, I got to tell you, I don't see the 4s being raised on the East Brunswick side right now.
The fourth quarter 4s, I don't put a lot of stock in it anyway, Jim. You know you got to play the fourth quarter. That's what it comes down to. They're taking a break here. The coaches are speaking to them and letting them know, remind them. We got one more quarter to get back into this game. We got to leave it all out on the field, play as hard as we can, and not hurt ourselves.
Phil, I don't have a schedule in front of me, and maybe we can get one out here pretty soon, but the remaining regular season schedule for the Bears shows them with South Brunswick on the 29th. Is that home or away?
That is home, I believe.
It is a home game?
Yep.
All right.
I take that back. South Brunswick away.
And then Colonia is away as well.
No, South Brunswick home, Colonia away, and
all
onwards.
Right. This is the schedule for East Brunswick. They're at South Brunswick on the 29th. Okay, they have a home game with Colonia on November 6th, and then they close out here November 25th, the regular season. That's Thanksgiving, with the traditional game against Old Bridge. In between Colonia and Old Bridge is the likelihood of another game. East Brunswick, depending on where their record is and how many power points they have, is going to play a team that's most closest ranked to them.
I think that's unlikely, Jim, the way things stand now. I'd be surprised.
All right, we got to talk, all right, because every team is guaranteed another game. Are you aware of that? I guess you're not.
No,
okay, all right, this is the way it works.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But nonetheless, Sayreville has a 3rd down and 4 to go. The ball is on the 27-yard line. And we're underway here in the 4th quarter. Hoyt calling signals. Pitch is to Jackson. Let's see if that block was there. Number 75 put a block on Jackson. Excuse me. It was number 75 who laid that block out. That was Frank Terizino. And just like that, Sayreville gets the touchdown and takes a 20-0 lead. Second play of the 4th quarter.
And it's much like we've been saying, the more touches you can give Yazzie Jackson, sooner or later something's going to happen, and something happened just then.
Miller going to kick the extra point. And that kick is through.
I'll tell you, speaking of Miller kicking the extra point, Jim.
Well, we didn't mention it, but on Tuesday, January 25th, year 2000. Boy, that's weird, huh? Okay. If you don't have any plans, try to get to the East Brunswick basketball game that night, because at halftime, two of the most memorable players to put on East Brunswick uniforms in football, Josh Miller and Dave Wall, are going to have their numbers retired. From what I understand, there's going to be a ceremony at halftime of the East Brunswick Perth Amboy basketball game. Josh Miller, of course, class of 1988. Dave Wall, class of 1967. That's my year. Miller, is currently the punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He actually made the Pro Bowl as an alternate last year. And Dave Wall has had a very successful career right now as an executive for the Philadelphia 76ers at one time, I believe. Well, I'm reading his current position is executive VP for basketball operations for the Miami Heat.
Okay, and Rob King takes the kickoff there, Jim.
As I'm reading.
And he's nailed on the 20. But I got your point, Jim. Two of our illustrious alumni there, both Miller and Wohl, and yeah, people should come out and see their uniforms retired. It's quite an honor.
So East Brunswick down 21-0 here on the field. He's going to try one more time to see if they can get some points on the board. Phil, if time allows, I'd really like to touch on that. We call them playoffs, but they're not really. They're post-regular season games.
Okay.
And actually, Marcus Borden was one of the entrepreneurs in seeing that happen. Up the middle is Gagnon.
And he picks up a first down, Jim. Good running by James Gagnon.
And quite honestly, East Brunswick has had relatively good success running the ball this afternoon. But the turnovers are what have killed them. So a first down for the Bears up to the 36-yard line.
And they're getting to the point, Jim, where running the ball alone will not do.
Down to 10:40 left to go in the fourth quarter. Fumble again. And Sayreville gets the ball.
Mercy.
Turnover, number 5. And I think you have to credit number 32, Mike Worthington, for causing that fumble. The exchange wasn't allowed because Worthington tackled the quarterback, and Sayreville pounces on it for their 5th turnover, and a frustrated East Brunswick offense leaves the field. I feel for Justin Horline, Phil, because really, I mean, there wasn't too much he could do about that.
I feel for the whole Bear team. I feel for the homecoming crowd. The Bears played too well to have their fate decided by turnovers like that.
Long pass. Gathered in, and that's an interception.
Rob King in the end zone. I'll tell you, the Bombers surprisingly going for more, Jim. Up 21 points, and they're going for more. And fortunately, Rob King there to intercept it. They'll bring the ball out to the 20-yard line. And Jim, were you surprised the Bears were Bombers going for the big one?
I imagine so, but
it's high school football.
21-0 isn't exactly a blowout, and you know if you can, go for the jugular vein at this point, why not?
We might see some passing by the Bears.
Just like that, East Brunswick gets the ball back. Hornline, he looks downfield, tosses the ball.
I'll tell you, overthrown him.
Yeah, it was intended for Gagnon.
He had a lot of pressure on him, though, Hornline. Number 27 for the Bombers. Number 27, maybe it's Isabella. 37.
2nd and 10 for East Brunswick. You have Yanazo split to the near side. However, they go up the middle. That may be all well and good to get yards, but quite frankly, East Brunswick needs points. Gain of 6, making it 3rd and 4. Clock continues to run. Down to 9:50 left in the game.
That run is pretty much to keep them honest, Jim. Otherwise, the Bombers are just going to blow in there every down.
They're in there again, and Hornline had no time. Is that Worthington? No, I believe it's Tucker, or Hoyt, I'm sorry. The sometimes quarterback, more often linebacker.
He's a better linebacker than he's a quarterback, Jim. I maintain that. And I saw him play against Colonia, and scouts that check out this young man, I think that's what they're going to be looking at him for as a linebacker.
Phil, Sayreville hasn't been shooting the gaps that much this afternoon, but they do pick and choose their spots, and that was the right one. So it is a 4th down. East Brunswick is going to kick right into the waiting arms of Yazzie Jackson. Not sure why they did that.
Oh,
good
mercy.
hit. Good hit. That was Yanazo, the kicker.
I'll tell you, Chris fired up.
Phil, are you surprised they kicked the ball to Jackson on a line
You know, Jim,
drive?
at this juncture there, you try to get too fancy kicking it away from them and whatnot. I think at this point you're just depending on your specialty teams to do the job.
Okay.
And they sort of did it right there.
And did the job they certainly did.
And if you're the punter, Chris Yanazo, you especially made sure that the specialty team did the job by making the tackle yourself.
So Sayreville has the ball once again on their, well, actually on East Brunswick's 45-yard line. A little bit of a mix-up on that one.
Okay, Panula on the tackle there.
Derek Pugh was the ball carrier for the Bombers. Gets 2 yards on the play.
Frank Panula on the tackle.
Pitches out to Jackson. He's got some room.
I'll tell you, coming up nicely there. You got Marrero and McCluskey.
Took East Brunswick's best to bring him down.
Shut it down.
Tom McCluskey. Gain of about 4 on the play, making it 3rd and 4. Ball on the 39-yard line. 7:30 left to go in the game. Sayreville ahead by a 21-0 score. Hoyt tucks it under his arm, turns it upfield, and has his legs taken out from under him, but I believe all he had to do is get to the hash mark for a 1st down, and he is short.
And that's Tommy McCluskey coming up at the tackle once again.
Well, they do want to take a look at it. Just about 6 inches short of a 1st down. It'll be a 4th down, but I imagine the Bombers are going to go for it.
this time Mr. Hoyt may keep it himself, Jim.
Well, you had that right. He almost tipped everybody off. I think the center and the quarterback had their own thing going. Nonetheless, it is a first down for
Standing straight up
Sayreville.
when he did it as well. Well, not a bad crowd for homecoming, Jim.
Right.
See a lot of old faces. Saw Brad Pleasant here earlier. A lot of other faces coming back for homecoming.
The first down for Sayreville. Ball is given up the middle to Miller. No, I'll tell you what. Is that number? I thought it was 14, but it is number 4. I think we've called the numbers on about 7 or 8 different runners. Oh, that's Phelan, okay?
Okay, Marrero and McCluskey. Phelan on the tackle.
He gets about 5 on the play. So it is 2nd and 5. Again, an East Brunswick lineman moves.
Well, if you're a Bombers, you can go in motion. They're saying they're pulled off, Jim.
I don't see how.
Right.
And that is the call.
The Bombers, they can go in motion. You can't jump because the guy goes into motion.
That's about the 4th or 5th time that East Brunswick has been pulled off. And it really gets down to concentration at this point. And with that, Sayreville gets another first down. And the ball is marked on about the 22-yard line, we'll call it. Hoyt, pitch to Jackson. He has some room to the outside. Cuts in, still struggles, and moves down to about this 5-yard line.
And the Bombers coming with an option of their own. And do you think George Najar wants to score this touchdown?
I think he does.
Well, I tell you, remember the Bears beat them 28-7 last year, upset them. These two guys are buddies. They do a football camp together, 1st and 10 football camp. But there's no love lost once they get on the field there, Jim.
That is correct. So it is a 1st and goal for Sayreville. 4:40 left to go in the game. Bombers knocking on the door once more. Pitch, essentially the same play. However, they're going to...
Okay.
Well, Jackson was lucky to get a yard.
I'll tell you, the right side of that defense for the Bears, not giving up, closing in on Jackson there.
They say he got it down to the 4-yard line.
But the Bombers are close.
Bombers really shouldn't be in a rush here. They should take their sweet time.
I think you're going to see Mr. Hoyt on a rollout keep himself, Jim.
They have this near side of the field to work with. Give is up the middle to Jackson.
Ooh,
he's hit hard.
I'll tell you, hit very hard.
McCluskey was one of them.
I'll tell you, Tommy McCluskey with an old type hit. McCluskey's been nursing a sore shoulder for several weeks, but then showed no signs of it right there.
Gain of about 2 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. Gives to Phelan. No.
Okay, one play late. There
Number
he goes,
20.
Hoyt.
It was Hoyt himself who kept the ball. And Sayreville on the board again. A Brandon Hoyt who scores his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. A 2-yard run coming with 3:16 left to go in the game. And Sayreville will try for the extra point. Well, they're taking their sweet time now. Watching the clock. And maybe they want to practice a field goal attempt.
Maybe so, Jim. They're going to be called for a delay of game, no doubt about it.
And there you go.
Timeout, Jim.
They call timeout. Phil, we got this timeout now, and I wanted to go over the postseason situation, as it were. You take all the teams in Central Jersey Group 4, however many there are. There may be 16, 17 teams, 18 teams. You rank these teams based on the traditional PowerPoint system. And then the top 8 will be involved in the playoff for Central Jersey Group 4 championship. However, teams 9 and 10 play each other in a game, 11 and 12 play each other in a game, and 13 and 14, and so forth and so on.
So you're telling me, regardless of what your record is, you're guaranteed a game?
Absolutely.
Surprising.
Absolutely, and that was in place last year.
Okay.
So East Brunswick will have a game. And that one is blocked, and so it will be no good.
Okay, Lance Smith, it appeared, coming in here to block it.
So the score remains 27-0. Just to continue on this, East Brunswick would not know who its opponent is until the 8th game of the season. 8th game of the season is when they make this determination. And it's solely based on PowerPoints. And what happens is the team with the higher seed gets the home game.
I see.
So we'll have to wait on that one. And I think what brought up this discussion at the top was that based on this loss, East Brunswick doesn't appear to be in any position to get enough PowerPoints to get in that 1 through 8.
Okay.
So it is 27-0. We have 3:16 left in the game. Sayreville's points coming on 2 Brandon Hoyt touchdowns, one in the first period, one in just now. Isabella caught a touchdown pass from Hoyt, and then Yazzie Jackson had a 25-yard touchdown in the 4th quarter. There's the kickoff.
Lance Smith.
Up the middle.
Lance
He's
Smith.
got some room.
Still going.
Finally brought down. That was a nice run.
I'll tell you, fine run by. Lance Smith, 5'7", 155-pound senior. Okay, John Chu going in as quarterback, Jim, for the Bears.
He has seen action this year when Hornline went down.
With 3:03 left in the game. Let's see if we can get some other new faces in there, Jim. Number 30 going in, Mike Moscatello in for the Bears.
We got a timeout now, Phil. Something was not right with Chu.
I'll tell you, Jim.
Got to expect that, though.
Let me say, I tell you, see these new faces, Mike Moscatello and his brother Paul, Jim. I just like seeing them in here. These are guys that come and practice every day of the year. Their parents are there. They're great supporters of the touchdown club. These kids give all they can, and to see them into the game does my heart good because they deserve to be in the game.
That's coming from a parent who has been close to this program, watching his own son play. So
let's see if we can get the names of some of these other young fellows that are in there as well.
Number 89 for East Brunswick is in there.
Okay.
Adam Hoy.
Who's that?
Number 89, Adam Hoy.
And we got Darren Mazzy, number 75, in the game as well. Darren, just a good kid. Number 7, Paul Moscatello. Both the Moscatellos are in the game right now. Spread to the left.
Chu gives it to number 24.
That's Lance Smith taking it up the middle there. Okay, number 74, Ken Swoboda. You see him coming in the wet as well. Number 10, Mike Cruz. Number 29, Youssef. Give me help, Jim.
Darimi?
Darimi, okay. Chew keeps it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim, talking over you. I've done it for about 10 years now, so it's a habit.
Can somebody give me a cup of coffee?
Let's see who else we have in here, Jim.
Go ahead, Phil. 74. Oh, you mentioned him, Kenny Swoboda.
Okay.
All right. Somebody we haven't mentioned, but who's been in there pretty much all the way, is center Carl Walt.
Okay.
He's been a real mainstay this year for,
I tell you. You see
East Brunswick.
Number 32, Derek Kozlowski in at fullback.
Right. Chew gives to Smith on a slam play. Kids are still hitting out there.
I'll tell you, downfield there, just Paul Moscatello throwing a nice block downfield, so he's in the game.
We're down to about 1:20 left in the game. East Brunswick still on the ground, but quite honestly, this game's out of reach. And let's see. More substitutions. You mentioned Frank Panullo.
He's been in there all the way.
He's been in there all the way. Up the middle. Sayreville liberal with the substitutions as well. Under a minute left to play, actually down to 45 seconds. 23 seconds. Chew keeps it and brings it down inside the 20-yard line, down to about the 17. 9 seconds left, so East Brunswick better hurry if they want to get another play off. They do call timeout. So we've got a few seconds left, Phil, here. You want to make some observations about the game.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you this here.
You're looking at players here.
I'm looking at players that need to get their names called,
right,
that are coming into the game. Except these aren't rookies that are coming into the game now, Jim. They put some of the veterans back in. For what reason, I know not.
I think they want to score. That's the obvious reason.
Okay. 9 seconds left, and they're going to field goal, Jim. They want to get on the board to avoid the shutout. They want to give Christian Osel a chance to put 3 on the board.
That is an interesting call.
Well, nobody wants to be shut out, Jim.
So the ball is set up on the 35. You remember the last time East Brunswick tried a field goal disaster. Smith will again be the holder. Ianazo from the 25-yard line. It's going to be a 35-yard attempt. Good snap this time.
Ooh.
Kick is up. Does it have enough?
Yes.
Bounces over.
I'll tell you.
There is a flag, however.
I think it's roughing the
Could
kicker.
be roughing the kicker.
And Ianazo raises his hand in victory. The homecoming king just put the Bears on the scoreboard.
And they will take the points.
And they weren't shut out, Jimmy. As I said, you may not think it means a lot, but if you're a young player there, you don't want to go through a game and say you were shut out by an opposing team.
That field goal coming with 3 seconds left, so we will have a kickoff. And the optimum word here is don't get hurt.
Exactly, Jim. You're exactly right. With 3 seconds left, you're right. You don't want anyone getting hurt at this juncture.
Yeah. You know, knowing how friendly George Najjar and Marcus Borden are with each other, I'm sure that George understands the intent, that it was not meant to, cause any disrespect or anything.
I don't think Marcus
They just wanted to get some points on the board.
They certainly don't have to apologize for 3 points on the score when you're down 27.
Exactly. Perhaps the wind died down just for the right moment, so that ball bounced over the crossbar.
Poetic justice, I tell you.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we have Ianazo kicking off? No, we have a different kicker. That's number 73. Ball bounces around, picked up by number 25, Smith.
That was Dan Cenzano with the kickoff there.
And I'll push it around, and I believe the clock runs out. That is going to be the final score. Sayreville coming away with a 27-0 victory over East Brunswick. Sayreville's record moves to 6-1. East Brunswick now 1-6. When's the last time we said that, huh?
The thing about it, Jim, you're right, it's been some time. The thing about it, this team truly deserves better. And that's just not for me. You got Pop Warner coaches and other coaches, I'm sure, wondering the same thing. They know these kids, the junior and seniors on this team here, and they deserve better. They played hard. Once again, they were in this game, Jim. 5 turnovers, Jim, which hurt them. They shoot themselves in the foot, and you can't play against anybody with 5 turnovers that you lose, Jim.
And that was the story of this game. Sayreville scoring in the first quarter, second quarter, and then 2 in the fourth to nail it down. Final score, Sayreville 27, East Brunswick nothing. So that's going to do it this afternoon here at Homecoming at Jake Doyle Field. For Phil Hill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.